What is Ethereum? Before we can understand Ethereum, we need to learn what blockchain is, as Ethereum is based on blockchain. The apps and institutions that are popular today are easily censored. This happens a lot, and because of the way systems are built today, it is easy to shut down anything. You just need to be powerful enough. What if you had apps and financial institutions that were not controlled by one single entity? No government or authority in the world could decide to shut it down. This is where blockchain comes in. What is blockchain? A blockchain simply is a public database. Blockchain is a way to permanently store records on the internet which is not owned by one particular organization or authority or a government. Many computers in the world choose to be part of this network, and that's the reason it is not owned by one particular organization or authority. Bitcoin is one example of a financial system built on blockchain. Understanding how blockchain works is essential to learning Ethereum and its currency, Ether. Now that we understand the basics of blockchain, let's dive into how it actually works, step by step. Imagine a digital ledger constantly being updated and verified by a global network of computers called nodes. Let's take an example of a transaction where a user is sending a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin to a friend. In the first step, the user initiates the transaction by going to perhaps an app on their mobile like Coinbase. This request to transfer the money is broadcast to all the nodes in Bitcoin's network. In the second step, a new block is formed containing the transaction details. Think of it as a new page in our digital ledger. In the third step, the newly created block is sent to all computers in this blockchain's network. The fourth step is for verifying the transaction in the block. Each node in the network independently verifies the transactions within that block. They check if the sender has sufficient funds, if the transaction is valid, and so on. Once verified, the node that successfully adds the block to the chain, often through a process called mining, receives a reward, typically in the form of cryptocurrency for their computational effort. In step 5, after verification, the new block is linked to the previous block, forming an unbreakable chain. This is what makes it a blockchain. Once a block is added, its data is virtually impossible to alter. Finally, with the block added to the blockchain and verified by the network, the transaction is considered complete and permanent. We say that blockchain is decentralized and censorship resistant. It is decentralized as the data in a block cannot change without changing all subsequent blocks, which would require the consensus of the entire network. It is censorship resistant as no one person or organization has authority over it. It's collectively owned by everyone in the network. Now that we understand blockchain, we can get to Ethereum. Ethereum is a platform based on blockchain technology. So Ethereum has the same characteristics as a blockchain, and anyone can use it to build apps and organizations in a decentralized and censorship resistant way. These apps are called distributed apps or DApps in short. The one important feature that Ethereum adds on top of the blockchain is that it can be used to enforce contracts. For instance, an insurance company can build an app using Ethereum where the insurance company and the insured can have an enforceable contract that uses publicly available data to decide when to make a payout. For example, the contract could specify that a farmer would get paid if the weather was too hot for a good crop of wheat. If the weather got too hot that year, the farmer would get paid automatically. Many applications that require the characteristics of a blockchain are already built on Ethereum, and many more are being developed every day. This could make it very popular in the future. Let's look at some of the apps that have been built on Ethereum. In 2025, the platform is 10 years old, and there are tons of distributed apps or DApps built on top of the Ethereum platform. One of the major benefits, as we discussed before, is that it can't be regulated as it is owned by the public. And that is the selling point of these apps. OpenChat, Overheard are some of the popular ones. There are many social media apps that promise to be fair and would not be influenced by any government. What is Ether and should we care? Let's understand how Ethereum works to appreciate Ether. Imagine many computers connected to each other. Each computer has all the records. When a transaction needs to happen, all the computers in the network are told about it. The verification of the transaction is done by computers that participate in the verification process and get rewarded in the currency Ether for their effort. Ethereum supports smart contracts and can be programmed to do actions when a condition is met. Many developers are developing applications on top of Ethereum. As many applications that are developed using Ethereum become popular, the demand for Ether will increase, resulting in an increase in the value of Ether or ETH. Ethereum has caught everyone's attention in the recent past, but it may yet not be ready for prime time. It is extremely slow. To recap, we learned how Ethereum leverages blockchain to create a centralized, programmable platform for various applications, including financial systems and smart contracts. We also learned how Ether is the currency to run the Ethereum platform. To learn more, follow the channel.